Hey, third graders, happy Tuesday. You all did an amazing job yesterday on your Google Slides assignment. You're going to see that throughout the next couple of weeks, you might have one of those Google Slides assignments. And that's just a way for me to kind of check in to see what you've gotten done and how well you're doing with whatever the topic is. And that's also a good way for me to check in kind of in between tests because I know that I'm not right there with you, unfortunately, and I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. So if you haven't done that yesterday, make sure to turn that in today. And then we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit more about parallel lines today. And then we're going to go ahead and start reviewing a little bit later this week. And my goal is that on Friday, we have a test over angles and lines and line segments and points and all of the things that we've been talking about for the past 2 weeks at that point. So just to kind of give you guys an idea, in third grade, we do have a math test about every 2 weeks. Sometimes we push that to 3 weeks, but we've all been doing very well. So we're going to go ahead and try to have that math test on Friday. All right, guys. Now, with this, where we are at currently in our math, it's tough to be able to show these lines to you on my whiteboard. So I'm going to be having the textbook pages in front of me, and that way you can have your textbook open on the same page so that you can follow along with me and we can count units together. We can look at the lines and see what their relationships are. So to get us started today, let's go ahead and open up our textbook, our 3B textbook, to page 293. And remember, if it's a couple pages here or there off, that's okay. It's going to look just like this. Go ahead and turn to this page, and we're going to walk through this together. Pause the video if you need to. Okay, let's take a look at number 1. It says, tell whether the lines are parallel. Now remember, this is why the grid paper is so helpful, because we can actually count how many squares there are between the lines to see if the lines are parallel or not, or if maybe they're shifting. So let's take a look at number 1 together, guys. Go ahead and put your finger on that in your textbook for me. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take a look at both of our lines, and we're going to think, okay, are all of the squares in there the same amount? So that means going from this line to this line, do I have the same amount of squares all the way across? Well, let's see. There's one, kind of a fourth of one. There's another fourth. Okay, well, then I go up here and I don't even have a whole square up here, do I? So are these lines parallel, guys? No, they're not. Even though they tried to trick you, because if you looked at it really fast, you might think they were. But they're not, because if I were to take my marker and I were to trace these lines further, oh, hold on. There we go. Oh, that was a tough cap to get off. And I were to trace these lines out further, they are eventually going to intersect. They are eventually going to have a meeting point. Let's take a look at number 2. Now, I know you see the answer here, but that's okay. We're going to talk through it. If I take a look at these 2 lines, do I have the same amount of squares or half squares between them? Well, let's take a look. Here I have 2 half squares, okay? I have a square. 2 halves make a whole, right? So those 2 make a whole. There's a whole. There's 2 more halves. So those 2 halves make a whole. Are they the same amount all the way across, guys? Yes, they are. You can see that they have the same amount. And if I were to trace the lines, watch this. Are they meeting? No. So that shows me that they are parallel. Let's take a look at number 3. It says to identify the parallel line segments in each picture. So you're going to look and you're going to see which two sets of lines are parallel. So that means they need to be right across from each other and they need to have the same amount of square units between them. So what if I did line BD and I did AB? No, Miss Cantrell, because that would intersect. Those would be perpendicular lines. Okay, could I try line segment CD? No, I can see that they would intersect here, so that's not a parallel line. Oh, okay, what about, let's try AC. Are those two lines parallel? Yeah, and these lines have 3 square units between both of the lines. So that shows me that they are the same distance from each other and that they're never going to intersect. Now we do have another pair of parallel lines in this square. Who can guess what they are? Let me get a different marker while you're thinking. Write on your whiteboard if you think you know what the other set of parallel lines are. Okay, so let's take a look. I've got my purple marker here. Let's start with AB, line segment AB, and let's try to find its match. So it's parallel line. Do you guys think you know what it is? Excellent. I could say line CD or I could call it DC. It doesn't matter. And I can also see that between my purple lines, I have 3 square units. 1, 2, 3. In between my lines the entire time. So that shows me that they are parallel. We're going to be looking for the same thing on figure 4. So we're going to identify the parallel line segment in each figure. Okay, let's look at this. If I highlight PQ and I want to find its parallel, let's see. If I did RQ, nope, that would touch it. If I did SR and I kept going, nope, that would meet there. What about ST, this little line over here? Let me go up. No, eventually they would meet up here. What about TP? Oh no, that definitely intersects, huh? So guys, does PQ have a parallel line in this image? No, it doesn't. Let's try another line. I'm going to get another marker while you're looking. On your whiteboard, go ahead and write what line segments you think are parallel. You're only going to have one pair for this one. All right, so our orange lines on this figure are going to be the right ones, okay? So don't worry about the purple one. That was just a check. What if we try TS here? And I need to look for a line that is across from it. It has the same amount of square units throughout the whole thing. Okay, let's try RQ or QR. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Do they have the same amount of squares between them? Yeah, they absolutely do. So lines TS and QR are parallel. On number 5, we're going to be looking at a 3D object. So we're not going to be looking at a plane shape anymore. Find 2 pairs of parallel lines on each object. Well, on both of these objects, on 5 and 6, you're going to have quite a few, all right? Without looking at the answers, I want you guys on your whiteboard to go ahead and jot down what you think some of the pairs might be. Pause the video. Okay, go ahead and look back. So, one of the pairs could be BC. Another one could be AD. Then you could have AD or GF. Then you could have DF and CE. There's a lot on this one, okay? So if your answer isn't this exact one, that's okay. Double check with mom and dad that the one that you picked still is parallel. Let's take a look at 6. So we're looking for parallel lines on our CD-ROM cases. Go ahead and write down what you think the parallel lines might be. Excellent job. So you could again have several options. Here on the answer sheet, they said AG and DF. Yep, that's a parallel pair, but you could have also done DC and AB. You could have done CE and DF. So there's a lot of different things you could have done. You could have done GF and BC, or whatever that point is back here. I don't think it shows it to us. I think that GF and AD would probably be a better answer for that. But guys, you could have done a lot of different answers. So this is what I want you to do today. On your own, I'd like for you to go ahead and open up your workbook to page 186 and 187. And I'd like for you to go ahead and complete those pages today. You are going to be looking for parallel lines just like we did today in class. So you can use a colored pencil or some kind of marker to trace a pair of parallel lines in each figure. So you're going to take a look at all of the different lines in 7 through 10, and you're going to circle the pair that is parallel. On number 11, you're going to circle the letters that have parallel lines. And then on page 187, you're going to name all of the pairs of parallel lines that you can think of. So that's kind of what we just did on the last activity with the television set and the CD-ROM case. So go ahead and pause the video and try those out for me. All right, great job, guys. I'm going to go ahead and give you the answers here. Let's see. All right. 186. Okay, so go ahead and check to make sure you've got all of the right things circled there. And here is your work for page 187. Now, there are quite a few options, so double check that you have those. You guys did an awesome job. Tomorrow, we're going to warm up with naming a couple more parallel lines with a 3D figure on page 188. And then we're going to go ahead and start reviewing for our test on Friday. Happy Tuesday, guys. Great job in math today.